Hello, CP Algebra 1. This is for Thursday when us teachers are not in class. We are in something called Learning Lab, so we're working on some stuff for Algebra 1. These notes will be a part of the packet that's handed out to you, and they are hole punch, so you can put them in your binder. And then at the back end of these will actually be the assignment. So make sure you take really good notes on this. So this first problem, in the very first, it says, given the point 3 comma 4 with a slope 2, graph the line. Okay, so let's plot the point 3 comma 4 first. So 3 comma 4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 over and up. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put it right up there, that point. And then we have a slope of 2. So slope is equal to 2. Well, I'll make that 2 over 1. So from the green point, I'm going to go up 2 and right 1. I can keep going. I can go up 2, right 1. I can go up 2, right 1. And it keeps going. So then we want to go ahead and make our line of best fit. So go ahead and connect the points. Let's go ahead and connect the dots. I'll make this blue. So just draw yourself best you can a straight line. Okay, so remember the green, this was our first point that we had plotted, right? And then we used the slope. So there's our line that works perfectly for this. And then can we write the equation of the line? Well, the question is, do I know exactly where it's crossing the y-intercept by my graph? I mean, I didn't graph it perfect, so I don't really know. Well, if you recall, we've been using this equation. And we're going to actually show you how this is modified because this is not the traditional way of writing, but this is how we're going to write it this year. Okay, so things that I know. They told me the slope is 2. Agree? We got that from up above. We also know that we have a point 3 comma 4, which we got from above. I'm going to label this x1 and y1, and the slope being 2, I'm going to plug it in. So y stays alone. We know slope m is 2. And then watch this, ready? X1 is 3. Notice there's a subtraction sign, so I'm going to put that subtraction sign right there. And then y1 is positive 4. So this is our equation. This equation here goes to that line. You might have seen in other classes where they have actually taken this and made it to look like y equals mx plus b, but we'll see that later in this lesson, okay? But for right now, this is the perfectly acceptable answer. Y equals 2 parentheses x minus 3 parentheses plus 4. This is how point slope is traditionally done. Let me show you what we've done to make it modify to how it is on this back screen, where we have the y1 on the right side. What we really did is I just added y1 to both sides, and that gives me this. So notice how the y1 has now moved over here. And that's kind of how we're looking at it. And then there's nothing wrong with having the equation this way. It's just a different way to think about it. So I just wanted to show you that if you were to look at a different Algebra 1 book, or perhaps you had seen this before in Algebra in a previous class, perhaps this has given you the opportunity to see why we now modify it. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and flip over the page on the back side of your packet. First thing I want to do is I just want to modify this. Remember, I want to make it look like this. What did I do to bring the y1 over? Yes, I added it. Okay. So now we have the slope being 3, and this is going to be x1 and y1. Let's go ahead and plug them in. Make the equation. So I have y equals negative 3 parentheses x. x1 we called negative 1, so it's negative 1. Right? If I'm plugging a negative in here and I already have a negative makes it positive. See how that sign changed? And then I have plus 7 because it's a positive 7. So here's our point slope equation. All right, again, we're going to modify this equation. We're going to bring the y1 over because we just added y1 to both sides of the equation to give us this. They gave us the slope of 2/5, and this is going to be our x1 and our y1. Let's go ahead and plug it in. So y equals 2 over 5. X, we're going to keep the minus sign. It's positive 10, but the minus sign's there, so the minus is going to stay there. And then minus 8. So notice that changed to right there. That became a negative. Okay, it was supposedly positive here, but now it's going to become negative because I'm plugging a negative value in. And there's our equation. Okay, again, we're going to modify this equation. I'm going to move y1 over by adding y1 to both sides. We know our slope is 6, and we're going to call this x1 and y1. So I'm going to get y equals 6x minus 3, and it's a minus 7, so this will become a minus 7. There's our equation. The last example, which is down at the bottom of the page, and know that if you need to go back in this video, go back if you didn't copy everything down. So I'm going to modify this equation to look, I'm going to add y1 to both sides. Now I'm going to go ahead and create this equation. So I have a slope of 1/2, and this is my x1, and this is my y1. So I'm going to get y equals 1/2 x. There's a minus there. It's a positive 4, but the minus takes priority, and then a minus 3. So this is the equation we stopped with. But notice, they want us, as we said earlier, we want to make it look like that. So I don't want any parentheses. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to distribute over the parentheses, just there. So I get y equals 1/2 times x is 1/2 x. 1/2 times negative 4 is negative 2. And then I have that minus 3. These are like terms. So negative 2 minus 3 is minus 5. Okay, so the next page, front and back, which down at the bottom right, it says page 181 and 182, is what we're going to work on. So let's just kind of go through over the directions. So on those next pages, numbers 1, 2, and 3, all we want to do is we want to find the slope. So remember, this is the slope equation. So remember, label your points. So on the number 1, you have this. And you're going to say that's x1, y1, x2, y2, and then just plug it into the above equation. For number 4 and number 5, what you might want to do before you start modifying the equation, first off, change your point slope from this to this, add the y1. But you might want to find the slope. So remember, let's say on the very first problem, number 4, you have this graph, and it says you have 2, 2, and then you have 4, negative 1. So what we're going to do is we're just going to count. Let me just make some tick marks there. So we're going to count down first. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. I went down 3, so it's a minus 3. And then I went right 1, 2. And I went right 2. So my slope on this one is negative 3 over 2. And then go ahead and use the points to create your equation. Remember, you could use the point, this could be your x1, y1, this could also be your x1, y1, so you might have 2 different answers that, you might have one answer and your neighbor might have a similar answer. For 6, 7, and 8, we want to use point slope form, so we're going to have this as our equation. And so they've given you the slope on number 6, you know that, and the point. For number 7, you need to make sure you find the slope first, because we don't know the y-intercept, because we don't have a 0 in any of the x spots on the points. And then number 8 also, you want to find the slope first and then plug into this, and then just modify it. You could have 2 different answers on both 7 and 8. 9, 10, and 11. 9, we've given you the slope. 10 is going to be just like these, where you're going to have to find the slope first. And 11, let me show you what 11 really means. So we have this, and we have this. Okay, so like you're like, wait, I kind of recognize that, but I'm not sure. The point from f at 1, 3 is going to be this, 1 comma 3. The point at f of 3 equals 4 is 3 comma 4. So here's your 2 points that you'll use on number 11. So maybe make that modification. And then for 12, 13, and 14, we want to go from this to this. So what you'll have to do is make sure once you plug your points in, you will have to distribute your slope over the parentheses and then combine the like terms. For problem number 13, make sure you find the slope first. So your slope equation is going to be this. Okay, and we are actually going to have a quiz on Friday, so make sure you feel comfortable with it. Be good for the sub. Don't hand anything into the sub. Just make sure you are on task, getting things done. If you need to go back to the video during this lesson, take care of that. But make sure page 181, this is at the bottom of the packet, and page 182 are done. Okay, you have plenty of time to work on it. Have a nice day. Take care of one another.